All right, we're back for another Friday Financial Wrap-Up with Mr. Michael Zuber. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing well, man. I look forward to this every week. It's the last thing I do before I take 2 days off of recording, so it is a lot of fun for me.
I love it. Same for me. I love it. Let's get right into the show. Now, we are recording on December the 5th, Thursday, for Friday the 6th. Big jobs data report tomorrow. Also, ADP, JOLTS report. What's going on in the job market? What can we look for tomorrow or for Friday today in the jobs world?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things. When you look at economic numbers, we inflation, we get three prints: CPI, PPI, PCE. The jobs market's the same deal. We get a JOLTS report, we get an ADP report, and we get the Bureau of Economic Labor Statistics, the big jobs number. So let's talk about all three of them. So first is the JOLTS report. The JOLTS report really tells us two things. One, what is going on with job openings? And job openings is an interesting variable because it tells you what's going on with companies. Are they looking to hire? Are they looking to contract? What's really going on? So the JOLTS report this week actually was a surprise to the upside. I don't remember the exact numbers, but something like last month was 7.6. They expected 7.7, and they got 8.1. So it was a significant beat to the upside. So post-election, people who own companies are clearly in a good mood, right? We have seen several economics reports talking about small and medium-sized businesses being in a quote-unquote good move, expansionary mood post-election. They're looking for, deregulation. They're looking for tax cuts, right? Net, a good vibe going on in the jobs market. And the JOLTS report is evidence of that. Then ADP. ADP is a private payroll service. Now, again, I don't remember the exact numbers, but something like 160 was expected, and we came in below 150. So it was a miss to the downside. Not a horrific miss, but a miss nonetheless. And now for the big number that would have come out about 2 hours before this will be going on at 7:30 a.m. They came out at 5:30. This number is important for a couple of reasons. First, last month was a nasty number of only positive 12,000. Now, that was explained away because of a hurricane, because of the Boeing strike. The first thing I'm going to be interested in is that 12,000 revised, up or down, because we've seen pretty consistent revisions. Okay. Will this one go up or will it go negative, like many of the last forecasts were? They all seem to go one direction. But now, because everybody explained away the nasty 12,000 number, we need a pretty good comeback, right? The strike's over, right? The weather is over, right? We're rebuilding and hiring. So, I think the expectations for this are about 200,000. I'm going to say if it's true about Boeing and if it's true about weather, there's a very good chance, Ty, that we have a blowout number. What's a blowout number? Call it 300,000 and above. Wow. And if you have a 300,000 and above, how can you seriously be talking about rate cuts the following week, which we'll get to in a minute? But yeah, that's the jobs number tomorrow, the one that just came out, really, really important.
So jobs. Again, a theme of the show. We said that early in the year going into 2024 still remains probably the hottest indicator of whether we're going to see Fed cuts, what's to be expected, how the economy, the overall health of the economy. Is that accurate?
Oh, it's everything.
Everything. Okay, let's keep going. Let's talk about a shocking, very interesting word, shocking Q4 GDP forecast. What happened this week?
Yeah, so there's a service that you can go to. I'd probably look at it once a week if I was a novice economist, and it's called GDP Now. It's put out by the Atlanta Fed. And Ty, I almost couldn't believe it when I saw it. It's forecasting a Q4 GDP of 3.3%.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how you cut rates when GDP is running at 3.3%, unemployment's at 4.1%, and inflation is ticking higher. I mean, all of these things are adding up to the fact that the Fed needs to pause. What the hell are they doing?
Very interesting. So again, GDP forecasts, economy's healthy, job market, we'll see, obviously.
3.3 is not healthy. That's like a good economy. That's beyond healthy.
That's ripping.
Pretty much. I mean, for the U.S. economy, yeah.
Very interesting. Okay, well, that transitions the next point, December rate cut. So I think I know the answer, what you think should happen, what should happen, and what is actually going to happen. Call it.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. I've been very clear. The Fed should not cut in December. In fact, I don't think they should likely cut for at least the first half, if not all of 2025. I think the Fed has talked themselves into a corner. I think the Fed wants to deliver one more cut to say they took 100 basis points off of where they were when inflation was 9% or whatever. So I think they will cut, but I don't think they should cut.
Interesting. And let's talk about, so the Fed cuts in December. Let's just say, do you think it's 25, 50 basis points?
25
all the way. Okay. So now with that said, and I know why I already know the talking points, but ultimately, if they cut, probably means we're going to be maybe an inflationary time going into, wow. I just got an emergency alert. I don't know.
Yeah, you got an Amber Alert or something.
Yeah, that's odd. And my ringer's turned off. Well, there's a tsunami warning.
Oh, no.
So just so you know, there's a tsunami warning. I'm not by the ocean, but
I was going to say.
Hopefully I don't get interrupted. Right? Hopefully I don't get interrupted by the tsunami. So, okay. Well, hopefully everybody's safe, on the coast or in the tsunami zone.
Right, 10:51 a.m. Pacific on Thursday, tsunami warning. That's interesting.
You could hear that beep though through my.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, my ringer's off. Okay. So, if we get a rate cut, does that mean we're potentially going to be fighting inflation in 2025? Does it concern you?
Yes, it concerns me. And again, I've talked about this. You got to go back and look at history. And, history rhymes. And we've been here before where the Fed ripped rates higher. Then they thought they beat it. They lowered rates and then inflation ripped again. This is a legit concern. And I talked earlier about small businesses and we talked about a 3.3 GDP. This thing gets going and you get tax cuts and you get, deregulation. You can get a lot of capital moving. Yes, Ty, it's a concern.
Okay. And just to be clear, you know what? I'll transition to the next point because I have a follow-up question, but it'll tie together well here. Housing forecast 2025. We've talked about ours. What did happen this week with housing forecasts?
Yeah, so we're lucky enough on this channel in our community together to work with the professional Lance Lambert, Resi Club, ex-Fortune. He is everything housing and does a world class. I just read his Resi Club, which you can go find at resiclubanalytics.com, and he collected 16 forecasts, and the average forecast when you put them all together is about a 3.5% 2025, kind of ho hum normal year. But there are two extremes. There is a company called Apollo Global Management, Ty, that's forecasting 10.8% growth in national median home price. And then just to get to the other side real quick, we got Mark Zandi talking about at Moody's Analytics, talking about a negative 0.5%, I believe. Maybe it was 0.4, but a negative number nonetheless. So again, those are our two extremes. And it's really interesting to break those apart because I could theoretically get to both of them, but a couple of things have to happen. But yeah, housing forecast collectively 3.5, the extremes 10.8 and negative 0.4.
Very interesting. And also too, when you take a national average like that, potentially in markets like the Bay Area or parts of California, parts on the coast, potentially that could be 5% in the Midwest and maybe potentially 18%, 12%, something crazy in hot markets on the coastal markets or markets that typically are a little bit more exuberant. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, you've pointed out exactly. That's why everybody should just know their buy box and maybe their MSA. But yeah, these national forecasts are very much complete. And we actually talked about that on my channel. Lance is like, hey, the Northeast, still really hot, no inventory. Florida, Texas, negative. But when you throw it all together into one big pie, it's kind of a boring 3.5.
Okay. So let's talk about buyers giving up. What did you see this week? What are your thoughts? What's your take on as we're, finishing the first week of December? What did you see?
So one of the things that I think makes One Rental at a Time unique is I talk to 15 people in the business minimum every week. And there's been a pretty consistent theme post-election. We're a month since the election. It's hard to believe. It's hot. I think buyers have given up on waiting for rates to drop.
Yep.
And I think that's meaningful. Everybody I talk to who's in the business says that post-election, it's different. More buyers, more offers, more pre-approvals, more refis. It's just more. So part of that is A, there was a lot of people waiting post-election, but B, there's just a general vibe shift. Again, deregulations, tax cuts, hope for the future. And people are putting money to work. And I think home buyers are giving up on waiting for rates to come down. I mean, how many times did you hear waiting till after the election, waiting for rates to come down?
Right.
I think the buyers have given up. They're stopped waiting.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, in a lot of the, here in California, it's still incredibly low inventory, depending on what buy box you have. I mean, it's some of the lowest inventory that I've ever seen in 30 years. So still wild, even with rates higher for longer, 30-year mortgages higher for longer. Let me just circle back to the rate cut potentially in December. Actually, you know what? I actually skipped something. What do you see for Fed rate cuts in 2025? Are we going to see rate cuts? Is there going to be a series? What's the chatter this week?
So it's really interesting. You and I think I shared it on this weekly wrap up 3 weeks ago that I thought there were chances that we'd have 0 rate cuts in 25. I was ridiculed when I made that call on my daily financial news. I was tarred and feathered. It's funny to watch real named economists come around to my opinion a month later.
Yep.
So I feel very confident that will be 0 rate cuts for the first half. So call it Q1, Q2. I'm still standing on the fact that we'll have 0 in 25. I'm not as confident about that by any means because a lot of stuff could happen in a year. But, that call I made a month ago doesn't sound as crazy today as it did a month ago. So I like being early, and we got that one right.
Absolutely. And do you see with the 30-year mortgage, we've talked a lot about this. We always touch it every week. Do you still see that even if with 25 basis points in December, I mean, we're still probably going to bounce around somewhere in the high 6s, mid 6s to low 7s? Is that still?
I think if you got no rate cuts, you have an economy that's booming at 3.5%, low unemployment. Yeah, I think mortgage rates are, plus or minus 7 all year.
Plus or minus 7. Okay. Plus or minus 7. Okay. So there you go, folks. There it is. Let's talk about Vegas. I'm excited for Vegas. I know you're working hard. I'm excited for Vegas. I know you're working hard for Vegas. Talk about what's going on in Vegas.
Yeah, we have this, yearly ORAD event, where we bring, 300-400 people in the room that are all going the same direction, all positive go-givers. We're going to have, 15 to 16 presenters. You're going to get to ask them questions. You're going to get 6 hours of networking. You're going to get fed 3 different times. It's just like an event like no other. There's no selling from the stage. Again, there'll be a microphone on the sign where everybody can get up and ask questions of the speakers. It'll be, a party atmosphere at the dinner with cakes and cupcakes and things of that nature. It's just going to be a fun, positive event. Based on ticket sales, a lot more couples are coming. I think the first year there was a lot of singles that came. The husband came or the wife came and the other one stayed home. Given it's Valentine's Day, right? Valentine's Day is Friday. The event is Saturday, Sunday. Yep. Monday's again a holiday. I think there's a lot more couples coming this year, which is pretty awesome. We're going to have couples be keynote speakers or featured speakers day 1 and day 2, kicking off both sessions. We got surprise guests. We got a keynote that nobody knows about. So it's all coming together. And yeah, tickets are more than 50% sold out. Buy your tickets soon. I cannot sell anymore. I'm going to the fire marshal's capacity at this location. So get your tickets, and I'll see you there.
I love it. Folks, don't sleep on this. Buy your tickets now. If you have any interest to go, get your ticket. It will sell out. The other thing I want to say is, unlike any event, Michael said it very briefly. He said no selling from stage. And let me explain to you. Michael's not going to roll out. If you really want to get the good information, you need to buy this coaching package or this mentorship or any of that. absolutely, there's zero selling at all. Myself, all the experts, Michael, everybody, we give everything we've got in those 2 days, lunches, dinners. If you have an interest in wanting to be at the VIP dinner, let me explain to you what happens there. This is where there's 10, 15 tables, and you are going to be able to roll up your sleeves and break bread with the panelists, with all the millionaire experts that are featured guests on this channel. So you're going to actually get to sit down and have lunch with the Lumberjack, Millennial Mike, Adrian, Omar, myself, whoever is that your vibe is, you're going to get in there, and we don't hold back. Everybody that's there gives. They're going to pour their heart and soul into the audience. There's absolutely, like, you're going to leave with a toolbox full of strategies, tactics, and what you need to make 2025 your year, Michael. Michael, any last thoughts?
Yeah, and again, I just want to stress this. You're going to get 3 different 2-hour sessions to do that. Lunch, dinner, lunch. It is, based on the feedback from last year, that was the highest rated part of it. Because again, you get to ask detailed questions. Not everybody's comfortable getting up and standing in front of a microphone. You're going to get that. I'm also feeding general admission this year, which was a miss last year. So you even have more networking time. So it's going to sell out. It will likely sell out months in advance. So get your tickets now.
I love it. Michael, thank you for all that you do. Have a great weekend.
Take care.